Welcome to Own Your Unique Purpose. My name is Phelan Crandall. I'm really glad that you found me here. You're in the right place if you're someone who is committed to creating the deepest possible transformation in the lives of your clients and to create a successful business doing that without having to sacrifice things like your values and what feels right for you. And you likely, if you found me, have created a business sharing your maybe non-mainstream gifts, things that don't fit into the mainstream. And you're likely an ambitious person who also is probably got an intuitive or feeling side to them. And because of that, it makes navigating some of the challenges in business a little tricky. So if that sounds like you, this is the right place. And in this video, I'm really excited for what I have to share with you. We're going to be looking at business from a totally fresh perspective, and we're going to look at it a totally different perspective to business called the inside out approach. And this approach honors your individuality and also your deep values while also honoring your ambition. At Scale Naturally, we take an out-of-the-box approach to business because the people we work with are tired of trying to fit in and they don't want to be put in some box. And so that is the approach that we take that really they love. In this video, we're going to be talking about creating a business that's right for you, creating offerings that are right for you, creating marketing that is right for you. This is the approach we're going to be taking. You'll try on this out-of-the-box approach in this video and begin to see how you can actually fulfill your purpose and create the deepest transformation that's possible for your clients. And this actually happens when you prioritize expressing your gifts fully and expressing your purpose fully, prioritizing your purpose. You're going to walk away from this video with a powerful litmus test, essentially a test that will help you determine whether or not a particular way of working with clients is right for you, whether or not a potential marketing approach or strategy is right for you. And, does this marketing approach or does this particular way of working with clients have you going off purpose or keep you on purpose? That's what you're going to walk away with. And I'm going to be fitting a lot of information and different perspectives into this video. And there's a whole other layer to this that I actually discovered in 2016 that finally allowed me to really create a business that was right for me, that really creates deep transformation and feels awesome. And for some, this video is just going to be the beginning of our journey together. And if you feel drawn to explore that deeper layer, I'm going to talk about it at the end of the video. Okay, so I want to share briefly a little bit about where this video is coming from. I'm talking about purpose in the business world. So what you need to know about me is I can get pretty obsessive and have been pretty obsessive around all things purpose and business. I've had my business for 17 years. And I have spent that entire time delving into all of the endless ways that we can get in our own way and figured out lots of ways to break out of whatever keeps us from creating the business that we are meant to have. Creating a successful business that creates deep transformation for the clients and also that feels good and right without sacrificing our values or authenticity. So on my life's journey, I had an extremely traumatic and abusive childhood. And unfortunately, I learned really early on that I had to essentially be what other people wanted me to be in order to survive. So being myself wasn't this thing that was a priority. Living my purpose, totally irrelevant. And unfortunately, because of that, I had zero idea of who I was. I had no idea who I was. And I became a mechanical engineer. That was my first career. I was not me. That is not the right career for me. I have an engineering type brain, as you might see in this video. However, I remember sitting in that cubicle, just like looking at the clock constantly, watching the minutes go by as I just wanted to get out of there. So totally wrong career. And again, I had no idea who I was. There was a huge disconnect between who I was inside and the world around me, this career that I had had. And that had me on a constant search to find out more about who I was. Ever since I knew there were ways to understand myself and others and what makes us unique, I have been obsessively studying that. That's been a huge passion topic for me for a lot of years. And I studied fairly in depth most systems that I've come across. And I was trying to figure out who I really was and what I was all about and what my purpose was. And I've probably analyzed other people in this obsessive discovery of who I was and trying to learn more about my purpose. I analyzed probably thousands of people for what make them unique as well over a period of 20 plus years. So I knew so much information about myself, my purpose, what made me unique. And yet, knowing this information was one thing, applying it to my business and creating a business that really fulfilled that purpose was a completely other topic. That was completely a different topic. So I did leave engineering to do more meaningful work, obviously, and to fulfill my purpose through creating a business. Yet I found that purpose and the business world don't really mix all that well. And I was always like a good student. I don't know if you can relate to that. I was always like a good student. So essentially, I created a very successful business following what other people told me to do to create success. Yet, through that whole journey, I ignored the very subtle feeling of, this doesn't quite feel right for me. How I work with clients doesn't quite feel right. How I'm marketing doesn't quite feel right. And I knew that there was way more in me that I had to share and that wasn't being expressed. There was more to my purpose that I was not sharing through my business. In 2015, I reached my height of my success up to that point. And I remember looking at my bank account thinking there's more money in here than I've ever had in my bank account. I created a powerful impact that year. It was a really amazing year, but something wasn't right. And I reached a point where I realized I just couldn't do it anymore. That's when I sat down and I took a deep look at myself and all that I knew about myself, all the gifts I had to share. And I created a simple way to capture these gifts so that I could make sure my purpose was being fulfilled in my business. I'm going to share some of what that is here today. And I, more importantly, began to apply this information to my business, to create a business that was really an expression of and in alignment with the deepest purpose that I have. I changed my business so that it more matched who I was inside, so that there was more of a match between the outside of me and my business and the inside. And that's when I met my partner and now business partner, Michaela Rogers. And that's also when Scale Naturally and this inside out approach to business was born. And so let's dive in. So one of the things that I found in that obsessive research that was super solid is what I'm going to share with you today. There are 3 gifts every single one of us has that is core to our purpose that we're going to be going into today. Likely, I'm going to give you a warning, you've likely heard some of what I'm going to share already in your life. However, I encourage you to have a beginner's mind because you've likely not heard it in the way I'm going to be sharing about it. There's a couple tweaks and nuances. And also, you've likely never applied it to your business, and that's where the real magic happens. Okay, so we are talking about owning your unique purpose. And before we dive into what these 3 gifts are, I want to talk about purpose as it relates to business. So for most people, they see purpose as this thing that they're here to do. And essentially what that means is they see it as an outer thing, like this is the work I'm meant to do. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost. And that's where I got lost in the beginning. I don't see purpose as a specific thing that you're here to do. I believe that fundamentally, our most fundamental purpose is to be who we are, to give full expression to all that we have inside. So from that perspective, your purpose can be expressed in so many ways. It can be expressed day to day, it can be expressed in your relationships and your friendships, and most importantly, because you're here, it can be expressed in your business, both how you work with clients, in your offerings, and in your business model, and how you market even. That what you do to attract clients can actually be really aligned and be an expression of your purpose. Sound good? I know that probably feels better than a lot of what you've seen out there. This is the basis of the inside out approach that we take at Scale Naturally. So we start with the inside, and we believe that the greatest impact happens in your business and the lives of your clients when we look inside first and then have your business be an expression of who you're meant to be, a full expression of who you're meant to be outside. With the inside out approach to business, your purpose is infused into your entire business, Everything you do in your business then becomes an expression of your purpose when you prioritize this. And everything shifts, the whole vibration of your energy, the energy you bring to your business and your marketing, everything shifts when you prioritize purpose and have your business be an expression of your purpose. And marketing can even become full of life instead of the thing that you do to get clients, like which is what is a common thing out there, trying to get clients. So we're taking the inside out approach today, and we're going to dive in right now. So we're going to first look at these 3 purpose gifts. And the chances are, again, you've heard some of this, you probably already know what it is. Again, I encourage you to have a beginner's mind, because that's where the power is really going to come, is listening for the differences, the subtleties, the nuances, and the different approach that I'm going to be sharing with you that you can use in your business. So where do these gifts come from? They come from the land of numerology. So they're essentially 3 numbers that are core to your purpose, that are very important gifts for you to express fully through your business, in how you work with clients and in your marketing. So in order to make sure you have the right 3 gifts from this information, I'm going to share my screen and guide you through the calculation and how you can figure out what these 3 gifts are, including some examples, just to make sure you've got it right. Okay, awesome. So we are going to do the calculation to identify what the core to your purpose gifts are. So let's dive in. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your birth date and add up all of the digits. So here's an example here. December 29th, 1978. December is the 12th month, so we go 1 plus 2 because we're adding up all of the digits. 29th, 2 plus 9 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 8. Do it all separate like that and you'll come up with a number. That's step 1. Step 2 is to reduce that number. We have 39. We're going to reduce it to either a single digit or a 10, 11, 22, 33, or 44. So essentially you take the digits from here and you add them together. So 3 plus 9 equals 12, and then 12 is not any of these numbers. So we further take 12 and we go 1 plus 2 equals 3. Okay, so those are the first 2 steps. Add up all the digits in your birth date, reduce them to a single digit or one of these. And then the next step is to identify your gifts from that final calculation. You know, sometimes this becomes the final one, then you take it from there, or if you reduce it further, then you take it from the final calculation. So we've got A plus B equals C. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3 in this example. Okay, and I'll share what I mean by A, B, and C shortly, after we go through some examples here to make sure you're calculating it right and you're getting the numbers you need. So here's a special case when the numbers add up to 10. Okay, so I'm going to give this example. And I'm sharing these examples just because there's some different categories of things that can happen. So in this case, all of the gifts from all of the digits add up to 28. 2 plus 8 is 10. If you recall here, okay, reduced to a 10. So here you identify A is 2, B is 8, and C is 10. Okay, so this is a bit of a different scenario compared to the previous. Oops. So the next one is the example of 20 or 30. This is a slight variation on what we just showed, what I just showed, because the last one, there's sometimes 2 numbers that add up to 10, where it doesn't really happen with these final 2. Okay, so in this case, 30, we've got 30 and we further reduce it to 3. In this case, we've got 3, we've got 0, and then 30. Okay, so here, if you notice, we leave the 0 there. That's because 0 is a special number and it enhances the 3. So we don't just want to put a 3 there. The 30 is an important number, same like we did with the 10. Okay, so that's that one. Here is an example of 11, 22, 33, or 44, how you handle these ones, and how you identify A, B, and C. In this final example, we can see it adds up to 33, and step 2 is reduced to a single digit or one of these numbers. Well, we're just going to go all the way with this one actually. So 3 plus 3 equals 6, but we're going to handle it a little bit differently in step 3, as you can see. So A is 3, B is 3, C is this 33. These are what you call a master number. And we're not just going to leave it there. We're going to add the /6. And what that means is if someone has a 33 for this purpose gift, they actually have two gifts there. They have a 33 and a 6. So in this case, the person has two purpose gifts, the 3 and the 3, and then the third one, which is 33 and 6. So there are 4 gifts for this person. All right, so that's how to do the calculation. You can hit pause, you can go back and look at the examples and take your time to make sure that you've got your calculation correct. And you're going to end up with an A, a B, and a C, those numbers. And we're going to talk about what you're going to do with that next. So we'll do that next. Okay, so you got your 3 gifts. So now we're going to look at what these mean. So we're going to start with C. C is your life path. And this is probably the most core to your purpose of all the gifts you could have. It's essentially connected to the work you're here to do. So it's got a doing aspect to it. So this is an important gift to make sure it's fully expressed in your business. And the other numbers, A and B, are what we call your challenge numbers. These are gifts that you've probably had to earn the hard way, and they might not be as fully expressed. Now, I'll be clear, all 3 of these gifts you've probably had to learn the hard way, but it's important to know there are these 3 gifts are sometimes challenging. They don't necessarily always come easy. So there is a handout with all of the numbers on it, and you're going to have a chance, I've got the handout right here, you're going to have a chance to look at these numbers and to get a sense of what these 3 purpose gifts mean. This handout I have created after analyzing tons and tons of people, right? Like probably thousands. And I've distilled it down into these words to summarize what I've observed. Okay, now I don't want you to just look at a handout with a list of qualities and think, oh, okay, I'm like, look at 7. Oh, knowledge, wisdom, analysis. Okay, those are qualities of my personality. These are not lists of qualities. I mean, it is a list of qualities. However, the approach I'm going to encourage you to take is for you to see each of these numbers in a very different way. So to me, I don't see them as lists of qualities. I see each number is like its own world. And when you enter the world of, say, 5, there are so many different things that you feel, experience, and see when you're in that world. And so, for example, if 5 is one of your gifts, there's so many ways to express this gift. For example, 5 is the energy of aliveness and life force. And if someone's fully embracing that aspect of 5, then they're going to have a lot of life force energy, and they're likely going to be activating that in other people. Also in the land of 5 is like adventure and variety and freedom. Well, that's different than aliveness, as you can see. So I encourage you to see these numbers as an energy, okay? And again, they're entire worlds with different aspects within the world. And while you might be expressing some of that particular gift fairly fully, there's likely areas of that gift that you're not expressing as fully as you could. And then we're going to take a look at how it relates to business after. So I encourage you to take a look at each of the 3 purpose gifts. If you've got a 0, you can look that up separately. If you have an 11/2, for example, you look up the 11 and then you look up the 2. Okay, so before you do that, I'm going to share an example, a few examples. So I started a little bit with the energy of 5. So creativity is another aspect of the energy of 5. And it's the type of creativity that's more like birthing a project. It's the number that's associated with our sexuality. So even literally giving birth to children represents the creative energy of 5. So extremely creative. I will say up front, it's very neglected in the business world, and especially when someone has a gift like, say, 4. So 4 is a really common gift in business mentors out there, because 4 is really great at creating order and systems and structure. So let's enter the land, let's leave the land of 4, enter the land, or sorry, let's leave the land of 5, enter the land of 4. So in the land of 4, there's order, there's systems, there's processes, there's grounded earthiness, there's practicality, maybe there's even physical objects, right? So the land of 4 is quite different than 5. It prioritizes order, security, safety, structure, stability. Okay, so that's an example of a powerful gift. You can feel the energy of that, right? As I'm describing this, you can start to feel the difference. Like when I'm in 4, it's like things are solid, things are practical, things make sense, they're simplified. Where in the land of 5, it's sort of like, ooh, what's going to happen, right? However, I encourage you to take a look at this handout. So in a moment, you're going to hit pause on the video and take time to look at each number individually and not just read the qualities, which you're going to be doing. Read the qualities, but imagine that you're getting a sense of what the energy is. So see if you can feel the energy of the gift rather than just read the qualities, okay? So go ahead and hit pause and go through each of your 3 gifts and then come on back and we're gonna take it further. Those are the 3 gifts. I'm gonna give some examples and so that we can kind of touch on some of the different numbers. I can explain a little bit more of some of them. And also we can start looking at this inside out approach to business that we take as Scale Naturally. So I'm gonna start with mine. It's really, it's 725. Sorry, 257, okay? 257. Now, 7 is the most important gift of these 3. So your life path number, the 3rd one, the C, is your most important gift here. So 7 is all about depth, and it's kind of like the hermit. It likes to really go in deep and like learn nonstop and like analyze the crap out of things. And like for me, I analyze people for what makes them unique for like 20 plus years. It's going on, I don't know, 23, 24 years now. Like that's a 7. That's a very obsessive quality 7 can have. They're very particular, extremely complex. So that's 7. Then we've got that mixed with a 2, which is very soft, people-focused, caring, and 5, which again, we talked about the creativity, the aliveness, life force, fresh in the new. 5 loves the new and the fresh. Okay, so that's some of the essence of someone who has those 3 energies. And I encourage you not only to see, this is how we see it, is that these 3 gifts are not just gifts that you have. Ideally, in your business, you're actually fully expressing all 3 of these gifts. So I'll share a little bit of problems I ran into in my previous model to illustrate some of the challenges that can happen if you're not honoring every single one of your gifts, and to hopefully light a fire for you to do that, to honor your gifts. So in my old model was based on teaching the same 3-day event over and over. There's a problem with this because I have a 5, and my 5 I thought was a problem because I got bored easily. Getting bored easily is a symptom that the gift wasn't being fully expressed. Because if you flip that problem of getting bored easily to a gift, that equals creativity. So the problem came because I didn't want to teach the same stuff over and over live. Like I actually would get bored. The content was amazing. It was profound. It was powerful. I tried to like get creative and change the event, but the event was solid. It just was good so that I couldn't change it. That was a problem, right? Structurally in my business, in my model, in the way I work with clients, that's not an optimal expression of the purpose of 5, the purpose gift of 5. So when I revamped my business, creativity became a major aspect of the business. Creativity was the foundation. And so I'll just share a couple practical examples of how I did this, and you can start thinking for yourself of some of the things that might be going on in your business. All of the teaching that I do is done by video, where I'm teaching content so that it's taught when I'm in the most excitement, like 5, the aliveness, the passion, the life force around that topic is at its peak. And so I capture it then, and then our clients go through the videos on their own time. And then when we come together in, say, a retreat or on a call, then we really dive deep, which is awesome for the 7 because it loves to dive deep. And the 5 is like, I like fresh and new. So that's a more optimal structure. So that's an example of 257. So there's a connection with people. and there's this caring component. So I love doing retreats, like with small intimate retreats, one-on-one work, or communities where I know people, right? That's an example of 2. If you have a 2, you might actually really enjoy doing one-on-one work. Okay, and then of course 7, taking things deeper. Let's move on to another example. Let's look at 3710. So key gifts 3, 7, and then 10. So this 3710 typically is someone who's pretty deep and pretty magical. The 0 adds a magical component along with the 7. The 7 is also very magical. And 1 is very creative, along with 3 being very creative. So this person in the fullest expression of these gifts, in the positive, so all gifts, I'm sharing the healthy range in the handout. That's the nice, good expression of the gifts. All gifts can also be overexpressed where it becomes a problem. So like the leadership of 1 can be like domineering and controlling, for example. And each of the gifts can also be less expressed or more weakly expressed. In the case of 1, that might be like a powerless person, or they're not ambitious, even though they're actually inside meant to be. Okay, so in this full expression, this 3, 7, 10 person is super magical, really powerful, really inspiring, here to create new paradigms in the world in magical ways. Yet, here's the thing that can happen sometimes. Sometimes we have these gifts that are very conflicting. So 3 versus 7. 3 is very social. It's very expressive. It likes to be around people. It has something to say. It loves communication. 7 loves to be by itself. It could be alone for like a really long time and be fine, like happy. So if we think of this as being one person, we've got the 3 that's expressive, then we've got the 7 that's like, I want to be alone. That's one person. So these are conflicting energies within the person. Each of us has these. Maybe you're even seeing which ones of yours are conflicting. So this conflicting energy between or within a person, it can be hard enough trying to navigate that as a person and trying to be an integrated whole individual, which is the ideal. Is if you've got conflicting gifts, ideal is that they really are both expressed and one isn't dominating the other. So that's the ideal. So it can be hard to navigate that within the person, never mind in the world of business. So take the 3 and the 7. The 3 is like, I want to go speak. And the 7 says, I want to just be alone and or maybe do like intimate retreats. So this can spark, and maybe you're starting to think of even in your own gifts, some of the conflicts that are internally just there, that are inherent within your gifts, and also some of the conflicts that might pose in how you do your business. One part of you might want something, the other part might not. And in this inside out approach, we love to look at how does it work all together, right? How does it work all together? That's how we see it. Okay, so that's an example, 3, 7, 10. Let's take another look at a different example, 31, 4. So 3, 1, 4. So this illustrates another thing that I see, and I want to see if you have this going on. We've got the 1 and the 4. The 1 and the 4 are both what we call driver gifts. Michaela and I call them driver gifts. These are like the really ambitious, driven, get it done, make the work happen gifts. The driver gifts are 1, 4, and 8. So those gifts, depending on the person, those gifts can actually buddy up. They really like each other because they're about ambition and drive and getting stuff done and moving forward. Yet what is very common is that the driver gifts can actually run over the more expressive, playful gifts like 3. And is this happening for you? Where the drive is like, I don't care about joy. I don't care about, spontaneity. We got stuff to do. We got work to do. Is that happening for you? If so, that's super common. We typically attract clients who have like driver gifts mixed with some more creative and artistic, like not art like painting, but creative like sharing messages and creating content or creating transformation. So we usually find that people have a mix of those. So is that the case? Or what can also happen is that the more spontaneous, free spirit, creative gifts like say the 3 or the 5 or the people-focused gifts like 2 or 6, they can actually dominate. And when they dominate, it's like ambition takes a backseat. So if you take a look at your 3 gifts, do you see any of that going on? If that's going on internally, it comes at a cost. So what happens when the 1 and the 4 drive and the 3 gets left behind, or the 5, or the like more juicy, creative, fun gifts? What happens is probably the person becomes very serious and they're all work and no play. And maybe they try and like hammer through their to-do list and totally neglect this, say, 3. Where if they were to focus on expressing their 3, even in their day in small ways, like dancing around the house, for example, and activating that joy and that expression, that energy can be brought into the day, into the to-do list, and it can be more fun, more powerful. And if you picture a person who's just only activating their 1 and 4, what I see is a serious, driven person who probably forgets to smile and forgets to have fun. If they were to incorporate the 3, they would be more attractive to their ideal clients. They would be having more fun in their business. And also 3 is not to be underestimated. Some outward expressions of 3 include expression. You know how many people are making tons of money expressing themselves on different platforms and gaining followers and, you know, selling, like making money through advertising or any number of ways. There's so many ways that the 3 can be making money. It can be a huge asset for the business. The driver gifts are not the only money-making gifts. All of the gifts can help you make more money. None of the gifts are to be underestimated. All of them are extremely valuable, extremely precious. And what's most important is, in fact, using all of them, and with the inside-out approach, going back to what we were saying before, giving expression to all of these gifts in your business. Imagine marketing that's created only with the drive and ambition of the 1 and the like make it happen of the 4. You know, imagine marketing that's created that way. It's not going to be very fun to watch or to engage in, and it's not even going to be very fun for the person to actually create. Versus someone who's embodying the 1 of like, we're creating a new paradigm here, we're going this way, we're, you know, moving to this new reality, mixed with the 3, which is like, hey, here's all the cool things I have to share about that, and this is why it's so exciting, mixed with the 4 of like, hey, here's some steps you can take right now to get started, right? Can you feel the difference in that energy? That's what I'm talking about, and that's why I'm so excited that you're here watching this video, because this inside-out approach has totally shifted and changed everything in how I do business, and it feels way more fun, way more full, and wholesome and good to my bones. And our clients experience this as well. Okay, so let's look at your business. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick little test. Remember I talked about the litmus test? We're gonna get you ready for that by taking a look at 2 very important aspects of your business. So first is your model. So model is essentially how you work with clients. It's the different ways you work with clients. We usually illustrate it visually, so that's why I'm going like this. So let's take one of the ways you work with clients. Perhaps there is only one, I don't know. But let's take one of the ways you work with clients, and we're gonna assess this particular structure, this particular offering that you have against your these 3 of these purpose gifts. So go ahead, you might wanna have a pen and paper handy for this. You can hit pause if you need to get a pen and paper, or just write it in a note or something. So ask yourself for each of the gifts, so we're going to start with, you know, 1, then go to the next, then next. For each gift, so 1 at a time, how fully is this gift being expressed in the way I'm working with clients, in this specific way that I'm working with clients? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like it's not expressed at all, 10 being like full blast. Okay? So go ahead and assess that. You can hit pause to do that. So again, on a scale of 1 to 10, how fully is, for example, my 5 being expressed in this 3-day event? Well, it's transformational, so, you know, there's transformation going on, which is powerful. However, the creativity and the fresh and the new, that's not really there, so maybe I'll give it a 5 or a 4, probably a 4. So that's an example. You can hit pause and do that for every single one of these 3 gifts, and then come on back because we're not done. Taking a look at this, you've done these 3, you've assessed these 3 for how fully they're expressed in this particular aspect of your model. Which gift is least expressed in this particular way you work with clients? And what problems is that causing? Do you see any problems that that's creating? Like the very simple example of 5 for me in the previous 3-day event, Like that was not fully expressed and it was causing a lot of problems. I would be bored at my own event and I'm a passionate person. Like that's not right. Also the marketing, marketing is next. That led me to not want to have as many events. And how excited am I to market something that I'm not 100% totally thrilled about, right? So that can cause problems with even making money because it's not super exciting. What problems is it causing for you? There can be things like lack of motivation, procrastination, boredom. Let's take a look at the second piece of business, and that's your marketing. So let's take a look at one of the main ways that you market your business. And if you have more of a word of mouth business and you say, I don't have marketing, word of mouth is your marketing. Just pick one of the ways you market. And we're going to do the same thing for each of the gifts on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being lowest, 10 being full blast. How fully is each gift being expressed in this marketing? Okay, so go ahead and do that for all 3 of the gifts. You'll want to hit pause here and come on back. Okay, so looking at this, which gift is most expressed? And can you see how there's some benefits to that? And which gift is least expressed in your marketing? That's going to give you an indicator of where there might be some problems. So, and what problems is this creating if that particular gift isn't expressed? Perhaps you're limited, you aren't expressing as much in your marketing, you're not doing as much marketing as you know you could, which could lead to less clients, limited sales, hard to make it the income that you want. So yeah, what is least expressed and what is that causing? In the same way as I had where I had an event where I taught the same content over and over, I also had a talk that was really awesome, really powerful. It attracted really amazing ideal clients fairly easily. However, it was like a 60-page script and I had to read the same thing, not read it, but I had to use the same script over and over. So there was a problem with my 5. Had I solved that problem, I would have marketed way more. I already created a very successful business. The success would have been so much higher had I found a way to market that was allowing that 5 to be fully expressed. Can you see that? What about you? Okay, so that's an example of how you can take this inside-out approach to business and really assess what's going on in your business against your purpose, against this internal aspect of who you are. So now I want to come on back to the deeper layer that I spoke about in the beginning. So this deeper layer is something that I came across back at the end of 2015. Once back where I was sharing, where I had a successful year and I was like, this isn't working anymore. That's where I really discovered this deeper layer. So up until that point, I knew these 3 gifts that were key to my purpose. Yet what I also realized is that they didn't explain everything. They didn't capture all that I was here to express in my business. And in analyzing thousands of people for what makes them unique, I discovered that there is more to each person. There's more to each person than these 3 numbers, which makes sense. Most people are not simple, we're complicated, right? So what I did at that point in time is I identified 4 other gifts that are super important and crucial for us to express in our business. That, with all 7, they come together to capture and make up what I call your natural design. These are 7 core energies and gifts that you're here to express through your business that capture the complexity of who you are in a very simple way, distilled down into 7 numbers. And because it's distilled down into this simplified format, it makes it way easier to actually apply to business. What I'd love to do next is to share an example of some of our clients. I'll share more examples of the different numbers so you can get more of an experience of that. And also I'm going to be sharing what the 3 gifts are for each of these example people who are real people. They're based on real clients. 3, I'll share what the 3 are that we calculated today, and I'll give an insight into what that looks like. Then I'll reveal what their other 4 are. And you'll get a sense of what knowing this information has done for their business. It's been very empowering, and you can see, hey, that has an impact. There's actually 4 more numbers to consider, not just these 3. It's already kind of complicated with the 3 sometimes. We're adding 4 more. which then captures more of who you are. Okay, so we're going to do that next. I'm going to go back to the screen record and I'm going to share and go through each of these examples, and then we'll come on back. So I'm excited to share this because you're going to be learning more about your numbers. Very likely I'm going to cover some of, at least one or two of the numbers that you have in your three first core to your purpose gifts. And also you're going to get an understanding of what else there is and how it can have implications in business. So here's an example of a client, and her three purpose gifts are 8, 2, 6. This is A, B, and C. Is how the order that I put them in. Now, according to this, what do we have? Well, both of these gifts, both the 2 and the 6, are very people-oriented. So the 2 is sort of like one-on-one relationships, and the 6 is more like community, family type of energy. So, but both very heart-based, people-oriented energies, conflicting with the very super businessy 8. This is about like maximizing production, achieve the goals, business, managing resources, creating success, empowerment, stuff like that. So already this is like a really interesting person because they've got like very much people-focused gifts combined with this business-oriented gift, which can easily be a conflict, as you can imagine. So let's see what happens when we see all of her natural design, including the first 4. Boom. Okay, all of a sudden we see 3 3s and a 5. And I'll explain this box so that you know what it is, because you're probably wondering. There's, in your natural design, there's 3 types of gifts. There's the first 3, there's the second 2, the next 2, and then the final 2. You already know what these are. These are the challenge numbers. The first 3 are really about the qualities and presence that you have. So when someone walks into the room, you're going to really feel their first 3 gifts more so than these, and more so even than this, because it's really about their vibe and who they're here to be and the quality of person that they are. And then these gifts are the like what you're here to do. So they're like the doing aspect of purpose. So for example, in this person's case, they're here to create success and empower others, but also to help create freedom for them and to help heal and liberate them, right? Help transform them. So this is a very powerful combo in what the person is here to do. You can see that it's not just 8. 8 is just about empowerment, but it's not about, liberating and creating freedom and any of that. And yeah, and these are the challenges. Okay, so in this example, if we if we look at just the first 3, it only shows a very limited range of the person, because very businessy, very people focused, but then all of a sudden there's these 3 3s and a 5. 3 is super spontaneous, expressive, like powerful communicator. It can even be artistic in some ways. It can really just get downloads of inspired ideas and communications that need to come through. And 5 is super transformational. These gifts are like wild and free versus this very kind of controlled, serious, let's get the outcome, or heart-centered. So the implications in this in business is if this person only knew these gifts, they might think, oh, I should probably just do networking to grow my business, like and focus on relationships, perhaps JV partnerships. Yeah, okay, that might be it. But then what about these 3 3s? This person is super gifted at creating beautiful expressions on social media and expressions that help people, make people think, and all this, like in all sorts of forms. So if without knowing this information, it can really limit how far our creativity can go to what can be created. That's the first example, pretty shocking for sure. And in some cases, like you got to look at, in this case, this person's 8 was dominating and it didn't even look like they had 3 3s. And it took a while for them to grow into them. But holy, now it's like, so inspiring and just amazing to witness. Let's take a look at this example. So again, we've got these 2 heart-focused, like love-oriented, family-oriented type, community-type vibes. Those who have 6 often do well. Like people tend to want to stick with them long-term because there's this like family connection type feeling, mixed with the very practical, very grounded, very earth-based 4. Let's reveal the other ones. Okay, what? Like 1, 3, 1, 3. So this is a very different energy than the 6, 2, 4. And what I know of this person and what I know of the 1 and the 3 energy, if you look at the 1, and there's 2 of them, remember these are the driver gifts. So this person is super heart-based and practical, with some drive to get stuff done or do stuff in person. This 4 likes to do things in person often. Michaela has a 4 and she loves doing in-person retreats. It's like her happy place. Or she has e-commerce businesses where she works with products. Not all 4s have that, but the 2 1s, the 1 is like we're creating, 1 is like a trailblazer. It's like we're going this way. We're creating a new paradigm in the world. And 3 is says, I have a message to share. So now we have this super inspiring, 3 can be very inspiring, very empowering person who is here to, you know, also express a really loving nature and to work with people around their relationships. Not that you have to do that, but that's often what can happen is there's a real relationship focus with the 6 and the 2. So if the person was to ignore this, first of all, it's very hard to create leverage because often if you do in-person things and you're very like heart like connected, it might be hard to think of the ways you can create leverage where these gifts are so about leverage, right? I'm a leader. 1 is like a leader that's leading the pack and everyone's sort of behind and okay, let's see this new way. Let's go together. So that's leverage, right? 1 is also very much an individual and kind of like the 7, it doesn't mind spending time alone. Okay, so that's another example. As you can see, not knowing these 4 is like a big deal. You're not just these 3 gifts. You're so much more complex, as you can see from these first 2 examples. Okay, here's another fun one. This is probably one of the most unique natural designs that I've seen. So we've got a 30 and a 3 and a 0. So very magical, very expressive, very spontaneous. The 0 adds this magical element where things can pop out of nowhere. Whenever you have a 0, it amplifies the one it's next to. So this 0 is really creating more powerful, spontaneous expression. So this person might not know what they're going to say until it's coming out of their mouth. Type of thing. So, okay, you can kind of picture this person, get a feel for this person, and then let's see what the 4 are. What craziness! Double 3, double 7? If you remember, 3 is more like social and expressive and likes to be around people. 7 is like, I'm just going to be by myself and learning a whole bunch of stuff, right? Huge difference. So, can you imagine this person didn't know they had these 7s to also navigate? They would be trying to, if they were just using these, they'd be trying to sharing a message and feeling like they're supposed to be social when a huge part of them just wants to stay inside. Not to mention, when a 7, which is a little more of a different number, 7 is not valued highly in our society. For sure, 1 is ambition. The shadow side of that is like ego. 4, productivity. 8, success. Those are very valued. 7 is often valued in an intellectual sense. A lot of engineers have 7 because they like scientific type minds. However, as a presence and quality, and where like you might be if you have a 7, is more on the spiritual side. So a lot of people with 7, they analyze stuff in the scientific world until they reach a point where they're like, yeah, okay, that's that, but I got to move on. Like there's more to life than this, and then they often will end up going on a spiritual route. Well, this isn't a presence and quality, so this person is likely going to feel like an oddball, or people are going to think this person is an oddball because it's in the presence and qualities. I have a 7 right here, right? So what I do, the work that I do is a little different. However, I come across as this entrepreneurial, super caring person who like is genuinely interested in her clients and the people that I talk to. Like I love sharing this video with you to share these pieces that I've learned. That's coming from my heart. And my heart is a huge component of my business. I've got 2 6s here. Okay, so yeah, so this person is going to come across like a little bit different. So knowing that, when you know what your gifts are, whether it's the bottom 3 or all of these, when you know what they are, you can just own it and stop pretending you're something else. Like this person should not try and fit in and blend in. That's not this person's gig in this life at all. And trying to do that is just like a never ending battle, if this person was to try and do that. Okay. And then we've got the double five, like super creative, where, we're creating a business model with this client, and it's very different. It's not going to look like anyone else's. 7 is super unique and original. We've got all these very like fluctuating gifts. So yeah, interesting to think about. Here is the final one. So we've got the 10. I talked about this already in another example. Someone who has a 10, a 3, and a 7. So fairly creative with the 10 and the 3. Leader type energy that goes super deep, like someone who really likes to dive deep. So this person, you can imagine, is someone who shares these deep, profound messages that help people create a new paradigm, a new reality in their lives. So those are those 3. Let's see what we find when we look at the rest. Boom. 2 4s and an 8. What? Very different than this. And also you notice she has all 3 of the driver gifts. In fact, 2 4s, a 1, and an 8. When these can be seen as individually, the 0 just enhances the 1. So like this is super important. This person is very much here to empower and to do things. She's got like physical products, because of course you have 2 4s, loves doing in-person retreats because of the 4 aspect of it, but also needs to spend a lot of time alone. So these have to be factored into marketing, into the business model. So I hope that inspires some insight into that we are all complex, and that these 3 gifts are not all there is about you. And in looking at these first 4 in addition, this forms a full picture, which is your natural design. It captures a lot of the core essence of who you are and what you're here to bring to the world and through your business. So yeah, hopefully that was entertaining and inspiring. As you can see, knowing what all 7 of your key gifts are makes a huge difference in your understanding of yourself and your ability to apply that information directly to your business. It took me over 20 years to finally get this big picture and see that these were the 7 gifts that mattered the most. These 7 numbers, when it came to each individual, that captures the complexity of the person and also distills it down into a very simple, like manageable 7 numbers that make it really easy to apply to business. Will make it easier to apply to business. Not that it's super easy like a piece of cake, but it definitely simplifies making sure your purpose is infused into your business, making sure you have access to all the energy that you have inside, and you're expressing all that you have to share, and you're creating the deepest possible transformation from your clients. When you do this, everything in your business feels like a totally different vibration, and it's even more exciting to get your work out to more people because you have a fire underneath you to do that. So these are gifts that you're here to share through your business. All of them come together to further develop this essence of your purpose. I would really love for you to discover your full natural design. To find out how you can do that, you can click the button below this video. Our clients see their natural design as a touchstone in their business. When you know what your natural design is, what all 7 of your key gifts are, you can evaluate your next steps or perhaps a marketing strategy to see if it's in alignment with all 7 of your gifts, with the full complexity of who you are. You can avoid wasting money, time, effort, energy on programs that actually are going to take you off purpose. They won't feel right. They'll end up just sitting there not being used. So this is that litmus test. You can use the 3 gifts for sure as a litmus test. When you have all 7, it becomes this touchstone to evaluate everything against. You can also get a sense of which of your gifts is least expressed. And this is your greatest point of leverage in your business. So for example, my 7 was fairly highly developed. So if I was to focus on like growing my 7 and bringing more of my 7 into my business, it wouldn't really do a lot because I'm already expressing it to a high degree. Where if I was to express my 1, let's say that was less developed over the years into the business, that's going to allow me to step into my power more, to have more entrepreneurial mindset. And the more I develop that gift, the more I'm going to move my business forward, right? So you want to know what your least expressed gift is so you can focus on it, and it's going to create the biggest difference in how you feel day to day. and in your ability to create deeper transformation and be more powerful in your business. You're also going to take a look at what conflicts might be there, right? You saw some examples of conflicts that I shared with you. It's important to understand these conflicts. When you know all 7, you understand what these conflicts are, and you can watch for them and see where they might be playing out in your business and see what you can do to change them. And also, when you know all 7, you get a picture, you start to form a picture of what your flow state looks like and what it takes to activate it. Essentially, what your flow state is when all of your 7 key gifts in your natural design are active. They're activated all at the same time. That's when you create a state of flow. When you're in a state of flow, you're the most productive, you get stuff done, and you feel good while you're doing it, right? So that's a really powerful state to be in. And ideally, you want to make sure that everything you do in your business, as much as possible, all of the work you do with clients expresses all 7 of your key gifts. That's the ideal. That creates the deepest transformation for them and has you being at your best and delivering the greatest possible value to your clients, which feels so good inside. Okay, so again, I would love for you to discover your natural design. You can do that by clicking the button below. There'll be a page where you can sign up and get all the details. So I'm going to share a little bit of the practical details about how you can discover it and what that entails. And essentially it's taught through videos, and most of our clients just burn through the videos to I want to know my 7 numbers. There's also a deeper dive into all of the numbers that exist. So you'll get more of that feeling sense of what each world is like, with me sharing more examples and sharing more about the essence of each at a time when I had the most energy to describe it. And so essentially you're going to discover the remaining 4 key gifts in your natural design. And that gives you that full picture of the complexity that is you. And that again has a direct implications in your business, activating the flow state by looking at, hey, how can I express some of my gifts more fully? Here's a really important tip. And this applies even to the first 3, but it's especially important when you have all 7. When you actually identify which key gift is expressed the lowest in any given moment, let's say it was someone's 5, for example. I'm talking a lot about 5 today. Let's say someone's 5 wasn't expressed as fully in that particular day. They didn't have a lot of life force and perhaps they were bored. If you focus on the least expressed gift, let's say this 5, what happens is, because all of the gifts at any given point in time are expressed to whatever degree they are, they fluctuate. But if you were to pay attention to your least expressed gift and do one very simple action to increase the expression of that gift or to feel that energy more, what happens is not only does it raise, but all of the rest raise. And sometimes it creates a flow state just by doing that. So I'm excited for you to try that. And yeah, also we've got something else that I haven't mentioned yet. There's 7 core needs. These core needs are the same 7 numbers, but we flip them around, and instead of seeing it as the gifts you're here to give your clients in the world, we take a look at them as being needs. So your 7 core needs represent what you need to be at your best in your business and in your personal life. In order to grow into your greatest self and grow your business to your greatest potential, you need to be meeting all 7 of these core needs. And unfortunately, some of them get neglected, and it's at a detriment to both yourself, your well-being, and your business. So I'm going to give a metaphor here. If you can imagine a peach tree, okay? A peach tree needs very specific conditions in order to actually produce peaches. It has to have the right amount of sunshine, the right amount of humidity, the right temperature. All of that has to be right within certain ranges in order to produce even one peach. Right? If you were to plant a peach tree where I live in the mountains, it would never, ever, ever produce a peach. Why? Because it's the wrong condition. It's winter like most of the year. It's super dry, high elevation. There's not going to be a peach tree growing where I live. It would never produce peaches. Okay? So it's the same with you in your business. The 7 core needs represent what you need. What are the optimal conditions for you to be at your best so you can grow both yourself and your business to its fullest potential? It's really powerful, really exciting. And also you're going to receive access to a tool that's going to help you assess any action you might take. any way you might work with clients, or any marketing strategy, even a business program. You can assess that particular opportunity or action against your natural design to see how aligned it is. If I had this years ago, I would have saved so much money, tens of thousands of dollars, wasted time, energy, and effort. I mean, nothing's really a waste, right? Whatever, there's things we learn, we meet people, good things happen. But the bottom line is, I would have found more aligned marketing approaches. I would have found a different way to do my business that was more aligned. And that's what I want for you. I want you to be able to evaluate, to get a sense of, is this aligned or not? You know, not that your natural design tells you yes or no, but it'll give you some indication of what the concerns are, and you can see what's more aligned and what's less aligned. Okay, and there's also more, so you'll find out more on the page, so click the button below this video to find out more and to get started right away. This is such a passionate topic for me. I would love to know what your natural design is, and I would love for you to begin the journey of moving towards a more aligned business that more fully expresses all that you're here to share through your business, all that you're here to share with your clients, and to be able to open the door to creating success in a way that's actually right for you. Right for you. You're unique. Every single one of us is unique. No two of us are the same. And yeah, I'm excited to keep going with you. So go ahead, click on the button below this video, and I'll see you in the videos. Take care.